Hi there. Are you watching what's going on in Punjab? And why, there is this feeling now that suddenly things are changing. It's become very dynamic in Punjab. A week ago, or say about a month ago, if you thought that a particular political party was all set to win the elections, that feeling is different today. And I think closer to elections, that is on the 20th, you might just have a very different feeling. Now, why? Why is this happening? Why has the Punjab situation and its politics become so dynamic? Before we deep dive into the electoral history of the state, the main players, the main issues here, let's quickly just go back to what happened in 2017 because sometimes it's important to look at the history so that you can figure out what possibly could happen in the future. Now, in 2017 is where the Aam Aadmi Party, for the very first time, contested the Punjab elections. They made their debut. They were everyone's favorite. Everyone said, including all polls, that it is the AAP that is coming to power in Punjab. But then that did not happen. Now, why did that not happen? Because just 3 to 4 days before the election, before the polling, the sentiments began to change. Something began to change, and there was such a buzz about the AAP and its alleged possible linkage with the Khalistani elements in the state of Punjab, a lot of money that was possibly coming in to the Aam Aadmi Party that was detrimental to the interest of the country. There is that perception that suddenly gained a lot of traction, and that is how the AAP never came to power in 2017. Now, what's happening today? Why do we sense that the situation is changing by the moment? I think few months ago, if anyone would have asked you or asked me that who's winning the state of Punjab, we would have easily said, it's the Congress. It's the Congress under Captain Amrinder Singh. But then that the captain was ousted from the Congress party. Then came in Charanjit Singh Channi. He's a Dalit chief minister. The state has a 30% Dalit population. And there was a larger narrative that the Congress wanted to push forward, saying that it is installing the very first Dalit chief minister in the state. And the Congress party thought, we have won the elections in 2022. But is that true? Now, clearly, that's a question that right now I don't have an answer to, but I really want you here to understand the different nuances, the different moves, the different statements that every political party is making to help you understand and to help you get the news that you don't get. Now, let's begin with the Congress party. What's happening right now first? I'll tell you that. Suddenly, the Congress party has began attacking the Aam Aadmi Party. And very sharply, all their attacks are directed at the AAP. So this really tells you that the Congress and its own feedback is actually pointing towards the fact that the AAP could be emerging as a serious challenger in Punjab. The Congress party has been dealing with a lot of infighting. They still do not know what Navjot Singh Sidhu will do, will not do. And clearly that's again, one of the X factors deciding which way these elections will really go. Not just this. Now, with Charanjit Singh Channi, it is not just the Congress installing him as the first Dalit chief minister. There is a lot that Charanjit Singh Channi himself has also done to, actually put out that entire image that, listen, I am the real Aam Aadmi. I am that Aam Aadmi that you're looking for. I am that change that you're looking for. Because, you go and speak to anyone in the state of Punjab, you listen to anyone. Most of them will say that they want change. Now, is this a change for another political outfit, or this is a change in the Congress party minus Captain Amrinder Singh? We do not know that yet. Charanjit Singh Channi has played the victim card again and again. He's very deftly handled a lot of issues. He's taken that entire fight of a David versus a Goliath. You would recall during the entire episode of the alleged security scare at the Prime Minister's visit earlier to the state of Punjab, to even now when he said that, am I a terrorist and why you treating me like this, is what he said to New Delhi. But that's his politics with the central government. Apart from that, what is he doing? When he's trying to say that he's the Aam Aadmi, he's becoming more accessible. He's meeting more people. He's talking to more people. He has grabbed so much of, I would say, attention in the state of Punjab. Everyone is talking about him. You see him at a dhaba. You see him at a local tea stall. He just stops by anywhere. He talks to people. And people see that difference. Vis-a-vis a Captain Amrinder Singh, who many said was not even accessible to his own MLAs. So is that the change that people are talking about? Then, another very interesting thing I think that's happening in the Congress party right now is that they do not know how to deal with the Navjot Singh Sidhu. They've actually gone with Channi. They do not know which way will Navjot Singh Sidhu really react. Now, there is again, I will tell you, this is again just a hypothesis, but important for you to know everything so you can connect the dots. There is a buzz that Navjot Singh Sidhu could ultimately break the Congress party. Could that happen? Is the Congress party ready for it? We do not know. On the other side, let's quickly now talk of the Shiromani Akali Dal. The Shiromani Akali Dal is fighting for its relevance. They broke away from the NDA. But right now, how strong is the fight that they are putting out? Now, what are the kind of ground reports we get? That there is some bit of buzz about the Akali Dal. So can the Akalis really play a spoiler here? And what about the Jat Sikh vote? Now, Jat Sikh again is a very predominant caste in the Sikh community. Navjot Singh Sidhu is a Jat Sikh. And there was a larger, perception in the state that Jat Sikhs were always installed as chief ministers until Charanjit Singh Channi happened. Now, I just want to give you some data to talk about the Jat Sikh factor and why is it so important right now for the Akali Dal. If you look at the 2017 election, Congress picked up 28% of the Jat Sikh vote. The Shiromani Akali Dal got 37. The Aam Aadmi Party got 30. 30% of the Jat Sikh vote. And now if you just go back a year in history, that is in 2012, the Congress got about 31% of the Jat Sikh vote. But this is where the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BJP combined got 52%. And this is, viewers, when you did not have the Aam Aadmi Party in picture. So what the 2017 data tells you is that the AAP is vying for the same space, the same Jat Sikh vote as the Akalis. The AAP is a threat to the Akalis also. It's very important to remember this. The Jat Sikh vote you would ideally think will go with the Congress, but that always has not happened. They have, gone substantially with the Shiromani Akali Dal, but with the AAP coming into the picture in 2017, things began to change. So that is the fear of the Akalis. Now, not just this, Badal Senior. Badal Senior is how he is very respectfully referred to in the state of Punjab, is 94. He's ailing. Now, without Badal Senior in the political fray, can the junior Badal do anything? Can he give his party a turnaround? We do not know, but this is again a very important factor. And as I said, when you talk of the Akali Dal, they have always been with the BJP. So there is one question that a lot of people ask, that is a patch up between the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BJP possible? It is possible because, politics is the art of possibility. Everything is possible in politics, so you never know. The other factor is the farmer stir. You've seen a lot of these farmers on the streets. I'm not talking about that anymore here, but you have seen the kind of influence they had, the kind of dent they possibly could make And a lot of them again are jut sick. A lot of them are jut sick. So when you have a Dalit chief minister in a Charanjit Singh Channi, again, what a lot of analysts say and they feel is that a lot of jut sick community possibly would now not be happy with the Congress because they have a Dalit chief minister. Now, again, this is hypothesis, and they say that in case they are not happy, where do they go? They can either go with the Shiromani Akali Dal or they can go with the AAP. This is why AAP is a real threat to the Congress, to the Akali Dal also. Now, let's put our focus on one more interesting thing that the Akalis have done. They have done a tie-up with the BSP. Now, you would think that a BSP is only limited to the state of Uttar Pradesh. What can it do to the state of Punjab and what's its relevance? You know, Kashi Ram was from the state of Punjab. And if you recall, until Congress had made this entire announcement of putting in Charanjit Singh Channi as the Dalit chief minister, the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BSP combined had also promised to put in a Dalit deputy chief minister. The Aam Aadmi party was also talking about it, how they want to install a Dalit chief minister in the state. So the Congress believes that their appointing Charanjit Singh Channi as the Dalit chief minister has been a master stroke. That is what the Congress thinks. Now let's come back to the other factor, the Dera factor. The Dera factor in Punjab is extremely relevant. The Deras are very powerful. The Deras hold a lot of sway. There are reports of closed-door meetings of, top leaders from all political parties. All political parties, right from the Congress to the BJP, to the Akalis, to the Aam Aadmi party, everyone meeting with the Dera. Now, just a little interesting factor. When in 2017, remember that there was a perception change for the Aam Aadmi party, and there was, a sudden buzz that a lot of vote of the BJP and the Shiromani Akali Dal possibly could be moving in to the Congress. Do you know how that vote got transferred? It got transferred through the Deras. Because that is where the appeal was made indirectly to vote for the Congress party. So that is how that thing played out in 2017. Now about the BJP. The BJP, I clearly believe, is playing the long game here. There has been a Modi wave throughout the country, but Punjab is a state that remained untouched with the Modi wave, whether it was 2014, whether it was 2017, whether it was 2019, or whether it will be 2022. BJP is not fighting for these elections in 2022. The BJP is actually fighting the long game. And the BJP believes that it possibly could be able to make inroads, into a lot of the urban pockets. So I think that is where what the BJP does from here on will be extremely important. But again, as I said, you never know. Politics is about never saying never. So that is how a lot of this has moved in. But one more important thing I want to tell you about the Akalis. The Akalis ruled for their entire decade, if you recall, between 2007 to 2017. And corruption became such a big issue because that decade is said to be synonymous with misrule, with misgovernance, with, a lot of corruption, with drug menace. Drugs, again, the chitta thing that you hear is a very, very strong narrative in the state of Punjab. But right now, I quickly, before, we wrap this particular video, I want to tell you again why I believe that politics in the state of Punjab could change in the next few hours. The Congress is suddenly starting to attack the Aam Aadmi party. The BJP is trying to make inroads for sure. Has the Aam Aadmi party already peaked? With the announcement of a Charanjit Singh Channi, and later the AAP announcing Bhagwant Mann as their chief ministerial candidate, have things changed? We do not know yet. But again, as I said, it's very fluid. So that is one bit of it. And on the other side, what the Akalis are doing, because The Akalis, remember, are the oldest regional state party here. And they clearly would not want to remain out of power for the next 5 years. But what's their way out? And why? Why do we say, and why do we hear so many people saying that Punjab could be headed for a hung assembly? That is something that we'll discuss next.